In 2025, Social Security is going to go through many different changes, one of which has already passed. And starting on January 1st, we are going to see about 2.8 million people receive additional increases because of some decreases over the past decades. So that's a big change right there. We also are hearing more and more reports from Donald Trump himself that there will be some major changes to Social Security, one of which is one of the promises that he made while campaigning for president, that nobody that is collecting Social Security benefits should have to pay taxes. Now, we'll see if that actually passes, but that's a big promise, and some people say that would be a big hurdle to climb. Now, I'm going to address all these things as well as the cost of living adjustment for 2025 and what we see moving forward for Social Security. So, if you have any questions on any of this stuff, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. But all I ask is one thing, takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So we could see Social Security change drastically. And one of the ways it's going to happen is this. The Social Security Fairness Act has just passed. This means teachers, firefighters, public service workers, postal workers, they are all going to be receiving additional increases on top of their cost of living adjustment. But not only that, they're also going to receive back pay for the benefits that they didn't receive for the full year of 2024. That right there is going to be massive. Some say that this is a great thing, that finally these people, these public service workers, are going to be receiving the benefits that they're long overdue. But others say that this is a mistake, because this bill right here over the next 10 years is going to cost an additional $196 billion for a program that is currently, in debt. This isn't the greatest move, but this is at least bringing more beneficiaries some increases. Now, here's the next thing I want to show you, okay? The Social Security Fairness Act is calling for the 2024 back payments. This is increasing, okay? It's speeding up the insolvency of Social Security, which means lawmakers have to get on this sooner rather than later. According to experts, if we don't see some type of Social Security reform over the next 10 years, then Social Security recipients will receive an instant and automatic 22% cut. That right there is going to be devastating to millions of people. Now, here's the good thing about what's coming up. You are going to receive an increase. The 2025 cost of living adjustment has a lot of people upset because it's not what it used to be. Okay, it's not in the 6%. It's not in the 4%, the 3%. It's 2.5% is the cost of living adjustment that you are going to receive. For many people, on average, you're going to receive about $50 extra per month. Unfortunately, there's still millions of people that don't receive the average Social Security benefit every single month. As a result, some people are going to see an increase of $10 to $15 a month. The problem is Medicare is also increasing by almost $11 a month. So for the majority of Americans, they're actually going to be receiving a $10 increase, but an almost $11 decrease because of Medicare. So they're actually worse off this year than they were last year. That's a problem. Now, how are we going to fix this? How are we going to make some changes so that Social Security beneficiaries are actually doing better, not worse? Well, here's Donald Trump's plan. Donald Trump promised no taxes on Social Security benefits. Some say they don't think this is going to work. Others believe this would never pass. Others say Donald Trump would never even propose this and put a bill on the floor. Here's what I can tell you. The House of Representatives, it has a very slim majority in this upcoming Congress. Republicans are going to have pretty much a 2-vote majority. That's it. I believe it's 215 to 219 in favor of Republicans. But if 2 Republicans side with Democrats, that's 217 to 217. That's going to be a problem. If you see 2 Republicans defect and actually side with the Democratic Party, that means any bill that Donald Trump were to propose wouldn't pass. Now, obviously, the vice president steps in and would be the tiebreaker for the Senate. But again, the Senate doesn't have a big majority either. Okay? Keep that in mind. Now, here's what I want to say about the eliminating taxes for Social Security benefits. When you are taxed on your Social Security benefits, there are still taxes that are going back into Social Security, back into Medicare. Okay? So you're still paying for Medicaid and Social Security. You're paying for those things. Even with your Social Security benefits, the taxes on them. Some say this is ludicrous, that we are being taxed double. Because, again, keep this in mind. When you go and you are paying into Social Security, you're taxed. Your tax is Social Security income, or the income tax, right? And you're taxed 6.2% for you, 6.2% for your employer, or 12.4% for people that are self-employed. But here's the problem. You're taxed once, and then when you go and collect benefits, you are potentially taxed again if you are making more than the taxable amount. Does that make sense? According to many, that doesn't make sense. Why would we double tax somebody? Double taxation, it's killing us. But at the same time, that is what is working to keep Social Security somewhat solvent up until 2034. Because if we just eliminate this, it's going to increase the timeline that Social Security becomes insolvent. And that could actually speed it up to potentially 2032 or 2033. Now, keep this in mind though, the 2034 insolvency date is just an estimate. It's an estimate. And I say this because if people stop working and they're not paying into Social Security, if we don't see that tax revenue coming in, guess what? It increases the insolvency date even faster, where it could jump up to 2030, which is only potentially 5 years away. Yeah, that's a huge issue. Now, I want to show you something else. Because again, a lot of people are saying there's going to be major changes to Social Security. But what they're not saying, and where they're not being specific, is this a major change to the Social Security Trust Fund, to Social Security beneficiaries, or the Social Security Administration? Well, that is exactly what they're talking about. Because according to reports, the Department of Government Efficiency, run by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, they are looking at ways to cut federal spending, eliminate workers that are just wasting time and federal funds and taxpayer dollars, and pretty much get rid of certain agencies. Well, here's what some are worried about. Longer customer service waits. It says, while customer service standards at the Social Security Administration have improved recently, an outstanding budget request required to maintain its current service levels has not been approved. The Social Security Administration has warned that customer service will decline if lawmakers do not pass the request in the upcoming budget negotiations. Keep this in mind, though. There is already eyes on the Social Security Administration to cut some of their funding because it's wasted funding. It's the same thing that they're talking about for the Department of Education, Department of Transportation, right? The Pentagon. They're looking at ways to cut SNAP benefits and how the whole thing is run, right? Everything is looking at getting a reduction. But the key is, are your benefits being reduced, or is the funding that's going to the certain agencies and certain programs, is that being reduced to potentially and hopefully increase your benefits later on? That's the big question. So we're going to see what happens moving forward. But all I can tell you right now is these changes are coming. The Social Security Fairness Act, that's going to be implemented starting on January 1st. So we just got a couple more days. Potentially eliminating taxes on Social Security benefits. Well, that's a promise that Donald Trump has made, but is this actually going to go through? That we don't know. And then the cost of living adjustment for Social Security. Some say 2.5% is not enough when inflation is even higher. But here's the thing. We could potentially switch from the way the cost of living adjustment is currently calculated to going with the cost of living adjustment based off the CPI-E for the elderly. This would be a huge boost for millions and millions of Americans. But again, this is still part of the discussions. So we'll see what happens moving forward. As we get more information on this, the one thing that I can promise you is I will be here every step of the way and I'll fill you in on all the latest news and updates. But as of today, that is what we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing and I'll see you guys on the next one.